Hello and welcome into the Sporting Pod. Along with Tony Allegretti and Mauricio Ruiz, I'm Cole Pepper. Coming up today on the pod, a major hire for Sporting Jacks. We hear from our first sporting director. The U.S. Open Cup gets underway for USL Championship teams. How did they do and who was upset? And promotion relegation comes to America. What do we know about the plan so far? Oh, that's all we have to talk about today here on the pod. I hope we will be able to get this in under 4 hours.
I have a U.S. Open Cup update, too.
Hold on to that.
No,
we'll get to it.
No.
We'll get to it. We are fed by the Bearded Pig, locally owned and operated with locations in San Marco and Jack's Beach. Make sure you swing by the Bearded Pig for great barbecue and great times. Okay, folks, we have news, serious news.
Oh, my gosh.
News. This is, in the best laid plans, as has been said, this would have been great. Any one of these topics could be the lead topic and maybe the solo topic on a 20 to 30-minute podcast. We try to keep it to 20-ish minutes.
Yeah, it's 20-30.
20-30, something in that range here. But let's start with the Sporting Jacks news, the announcement of the hire of Mark Warburton as the head of soccer and sporting director. We are recording this on Friday, March the 21st. Here at the Gemstone Media Studios, where the boss man, George Birnbaum, is celebrating a birthday, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Happy birthday. It's Dixie Dean Day, too.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So,
quasi-religious.
Yeah, semi. And yesterday at the Hyatt downtown, beautifully overlooking the St. Johns River and the Main Street Bridge, the announcement was made.
American Heritage River. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Okay. So I thought you were renaming waterways, which I just wanted to make sure that wasn't the case. That was a descriptor, not a name change. We're going to hear a few comments here from Mark and also from from the president and CEO, Steve Livingstone. These were comments made after the sort of press conference with the media gathered around, good media gathering there. And one of the questions that Mark was asked, why Jacksonville?
Because, as I mentioned, I've been an academy director, I've been a technical director, and I've been a first-team manager, head coach. And this is an opportunity to utilise all of those, I'm saying attributes, I don't mean in a very humble way, but all those skills and experience that you learn over the years. This is a chance, and it's a brand new franchise. It's a blank sheet of paper, which can be daunting because it's blank, but at the same time it gives you the opportunity to lay some foundations down and work with some really good people in playing a significant role, a pivotal role, hopefully, in taking the club forward.
All right. By the way, very English, you know.
Yeah,
London born, and obviously a lot of great experience. We'll get into a lot of his background, and we can hear or in the coming TV show, radio shows, what have you. But to have a man of this pedigree come to lead the soccer operations in Jacksonville for 2 pro teams and 2 pre-professional teams and a soccer academy. It's a big get, Tony.
We outkicked the coverage. I mean, there's no denying it. We couldn't have dreamed of having a first-team manager with a recent European trophy, Brentford, Forest. I mean, all these just amazing clubs, QPR. He's an outstanding get, not just for Jacksonville. Obviously, it's going to be wonderful for us and great for the kids coming up, etc. But the USL, soccer in America, this is big.
Mauricio, we knew this was coming here recently, and it is interesting to have seen the reaction from the soccer media, not only here locally or in the United States, but overseas as well. I mean, whether you're talking Sky Sports, the Scottish Sun, seeing all kinds of reports. This is not, yes, it's a name. It is a substantial name, but it comes with some real meat on the bone.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. We have seen in the past, even here in Jacksonville, where we have hired a name that did not necessarily have the meat on the bones that you're talking about as far as experience and quality, not just professional quality, but also, kind of quality of character and quality of work ethic. And I think Mark checks more than enough of those boxes because his background is not solely as a coach on the sideline, which he was very successful on, either as an assistant, as Tony just mentioned, with West Ham, just capturing the Conference UEFA League against Fiorentina with the likes of Declan Rice and Lucas Paquetá and many, many others to speak of. So he knows what high level is. But his formative time as a football professional is setting up academies and setting up development pathways, is getting an entire ecosystem within an organization aligned, which is something that we often refer to that's missing in the U.S. And you still see at some of the bigger, more renowned clubs that have been around in the country, and you go inside to do a forensic on their system, it's not very well aligned. And that's something that Mark is very, very serious about. He's very passionate about alignment. So then our local players can eventually one day represent our first team.
Yeah, I think that's going to be very big. And as you mentioned, some of the sort of tenets of the way he wants to do business, he has learned at some big clubs as well. Here's another comment from Mark talking about where his previous experience is going to be most applicable to what he will do here in Jacksonville.
If I go back to Academy Director, we were the first club at Watford in the country to combine academic and sporting achievement. It was always in the UK, one or the other. And we had 55 boys go into that programme, my son included. And a number of them went through and they achieved academically, but they achieved from the sporting side. Many went on to have pro careers. Again, my son was very fortunate part of that programme. But it's a holistic approach. It was a care and attention afforded every single child. And you saw some A-star students fly with their qualifications and their professional career. But you saw some challenge students who went on to gain success in various degrees in education. So that, for me, was a real benchmark that we can build from. You can show how the right staff can have such a positive impact.
I mean, that spoke volumes to me, Tony.
Yeah, the whole player. I mean, that's exactly what he's all about. And, we will have subsequent announcements that really speak to the whole player. And I'm in awe of this guy. He's sort of been a short term so far, colleague, but man, I'm just learning a tremendous amount. And again, such a get.
Yeah, Mauricio, we talk about there's an important aspect to his job, which is immediately to find a coach for the USL Super League team, and then to start, helping to put that roster together. But there's a long-term strategy here too of developing players within the system of Sporting Jacks, within the ecosystem in Northeast Florida, to be able to populate the roster and develop local stars for the future as well. And that, to me, the fact that he has done that in the past really is a major thing. If we're just hiring a coach, you'd say, hey, this is a big get to get a coach of this kind of status. That's not what he's going to be doing specifically. It's in the development side and really setting the tone for the culture of the soccer operations.
And you hit it on the head. There's a lot of people that are going to question, has he done women's professional soccer before? Has he done youth soccer in America? Has he done USL Championship? And the reality is that you won't find someone that has done it all. There are probably one or two people that have, somehow been lucky enough or unlucky maybe to be, kind of having all these tentacles attached to it. Well, Mark has done, and speaking to the player development, he has created programs in the past. And having worked a little bit with him last couple of months and just in conversation and just more figuring out how it's going to get done and introducing him to the market, Mark asked a lot of questions. He's not coming in to tell us how to do it. He's setting up standards. He's setting up, protocols, but he's asking questions. So he's curious and he's trying to learn our system and our environment so that he can then make the best final decision and have the final solution for whatever the process is going to look like. So he's intelligent. He is humble. He's hungry to make sure that he's going to perform, and he's a high-level competitor. So he will not come here and not, and kind of change continents and change landscape for a job that he's not ready to do, and it doesn't feel like he can do it at the highest possible level. He's intelligent enough to do it. He's humble enough to do it. And he's got a wealth of support and experience backing him that will allow him to do maybe things a little bit differently than how they've been done. Because let's face it, no one has really figured it out, right? Everyone is kind of trying to pull and push from different angles. So Mark having a fresh breath out of market, I think it's something going to be really, really good for this community.
Yeah, and of course, this whole move was started by one conversation where Steve Livingstone was recommended by somebody to speak with Mark, and over the course of maybe a year, these conversations have been ongoing. We'll hear more from Steve coming up in some subsequent podcasts, but I did want to just play this soundbite from after the event yesterday where Steve said, hey, getting somebody like this is a big deal, even able to overcome the fact that Mark was a Rangers manager and Steve is a longtime Celtic supporter, the big rivalry there, but he knew just how important it was to bring in a top-flight individual to be the sporting director and head of soccer.
I think his specific experience in growing and building our whole soccer program here is a perfect alignment. And I think we're really fortunate to have somebody of his calibre come here to Jacksonville. Yeah, the excitement is building up. I mean, we're getting closer to some major announcements. This we kind of saw as the first big domino to fall. We'll have several other announcements coming up in the next few weeks. Mark is going to start looking at things like coaching staffs, building his technical team out. We'll have announcements around that as he develops that. And then there's also the stadium side as well and our plans for that. And then we get a kick-off with our women's pro team in the USL Super League in August. They'll report for training camp in July. So it's going to come quick, it's going to come fast, and we're really excited about all the stuff that's going to be happening.
So there it is. We'll have more from Steve and more announcements coming shortly. There were a lot of questions in the press conference about the stadium, Tony. But those answers will come when they can come, and I think that will be another one of these. You called this the first domino, and it really is. There are some other big announcements to come, and the momentum is palpable right now.
Yeah, well, several months ago, we needed to make the decision to play interim because we're a concept until we kick the ball, right? And so playing at UNF really afforded us the ability to not rush on the stadium and to get everything right. And it is a super complex deal, and it's just it's ongoing. And again, we will announce. It'll be fun, and I am glad that we're going to get to see soccer in advance of that. So August is like really right around the corner. We are going to have a fantastic experience. We're going to build something that everybody in Jacksonville is going to be proud of. And it's, again, we do not take it lightly that this is the first women's pro anything team in Jacksonville, and we are going to come out and really give folks in the area something to be proud of.
By the way, 5 months away from the month of August where the season will kick off.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. A little more, this is informational, but it's all part of this message as well. There is a phone number you can call to get your season tickets. Are you ready for it, everybody?
Hold on, let me get a pen.
Yep.
Okay.
You got it?
Yep.
Okay. 904-863-KICK or 904-TOE-KICK if you want to play that game.
If you're cheeky.
Yeah, 904-863-KICK. That is the number to call. Just launched this week for USL Super League tickets for the 2025-2026 Sporting Jacks season. Season tickets start as low as $10 per game for students, $12 per game for supporters, and $15 for general admission. Premium and field seating is also available. That field seating is going in a hurry. Join the movement by securing your 2025-2026 season tickets today and receive a limited edition inaugural season scarf. Act fast and be part of history or
her story.
SportingJacks.com/tickets or 904-863-KICK. All right, let's move on to the U.S. Open Cup. It is underway now with USL championship teams coming in and joining the fray. We did see some upsets over the week. Cupsets. Sorry, Cupsets.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. our old friends at El Farolito knocked off 10-man Real Monarchs, the Real Salt Lake USL MLS Next Pro side, 3-1. The Des Moines Menace, 2-1 winners over Sporting KC2. Virginia Dream, a 3-1 win over Richmond Kickers. Richmond is also an MLS Next Pro, but independent side.
Yeah.
You had 4-0, a 2-1 winner over...
Wait, Richmond Kickers are League One.
League One, is that right?
Yeah.
League One. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, same division. Third division. Yep.
Another USL League One, Texoma FC fell to 4-0, 2-1. Both sides had red cards there. Speaking of red cards, Sarasota Paradise had a red card. The USL League 2 team knocked off 2-1. FC Naples, the USL League 1 team.
Yeah.
And
sold out stadium in Sarasota. By the way, the Southern Gulf Coast is coming on.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in terms of the state of Florida and the world of soccer. But Tony, I know how you love a cup set.
Yeah. Oh, it's my thing. And so many red cards. And I'm not like advocating we want clean play. We want but again, so much on the line with the US Open Cup. It's just been quality intensity, let's say.
Mauricio, I know you're displaced from the U.S. Open Cup being in Portugal, so the time shift is difficult for you. But interesting to see some of the cup sets happening. All of the USL championship teams that played in that first round advanced to the next stage.
No,
did I miss one?
Yeah,
who did I miss?
Birmingham. Birmingham got beat by Arkansas. I'm going all in on the U.S. Open Cup, so I'll be your fact-checking friend.
I missed that
like
result.
Pavement. Yeah.
1-0, Little Rock Rangers.
Yeah.
Knocking off Birmingham Legion. So
Rangers are everywhere this week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you have there's a League One Cup set as well in Foro beating Texoma FC. Yeah, that was another one. I mean, this is just fun, right? Like, I mean, it's a little late for me because games would be like at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And I do love a cup set, but I don't know if I love a cup set as much to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I gotta confess that I was up yesterday. I watched Portugal versus Denmark, then I watched US versus Panama, and then Brazil versus Colombia, back to back.
Did you get it on TV finally? Yeah.
I did. It was an absolute marathon. So U.S. Open Cup didn't kind of squeeze into that evening just yet, but in the future.
And by the way, as you mentioned, there's another topic we're not even going to be able to squeeze into this podcast with the U.S. losing to Panama.
I'll squeeze it.
We're not going to squeeze it in.
Dude, it was awful.
All right, there's the analyst.
Thank you.
There's
the
analysis.
Awful game. Not looking great.
No, with real questions.
Can I throw out another cup set that you might have missed?
Uh-huh.
Cincinnati 2 is out. There was quite a few, actually. I think 3 or 4 MLS Next Pros that got knocked out, and they lost to, I hope I say this right, New York Principian Freedoms.
There's some great names.
That's that's a big one, man. Fancy pants.
That was on PK's after a 0-0 run in regulation. So, all right, we'll keep up to date, of course, on the U.S. Open Cup and see how everything plays out. More USL championship teams coming into the next round. And then you'll have MLS clubs joining, and we'll be off and running toward the summertime. All right. We will have more coming up on the Sporting Jacks report on TV. Usually noon on Saturdays on NBC 12. This weekend it'll be 12:30 because of a change in the NBC Sports schedule. And then you can join us every Tuesday night at 6 for the Sporting Jacks Soccer Hour on 1010XL. You can listen live and on demand at 1010XL.com. All right, we're 18 and a half minutes into this podcast, and we haven't touched on the story that at the beginning of the week was the big talker in the soccer world, and had it not been for Rory McIlroy winning on a Monday on St. Patrick's Day at the Players' Championship and March Madness, it would be right up there in terms of the big talkers in the sports world in general. That is promotion and relegation coming to the USL. Targeting 2027 or 8. We'll see how that all plays out. Of course, it is contingent upon the First Division being approved by U.S. Soccer, Tony. But this is something that a lot of fans and executives have been calling for decades now in U.S. soccer. Amazing that we're finally getting promotion relegation.
It really is. I think it's great. I don't know for sure though that you have to have the first division to have it, right? So you said predicated about having that first division. I think you could do pro rel in the second and third
I suppose
leagues.
you could, but I don't think that's
not the intention,
Yeah.
right? That's not the ambition. But I don't know that it's a must have. It's a new day in America. I mean, it's absolutely something that I think will have reverberations and will potentially change some strategies out there in the sort of sports investment world in terms of just opportunities for American players. We're a massive country, and we are creating some players not showcased last night, but we are absolutely on the radar of a lot of things. And when we become start playing the global game like everyone else plays, I think it's going to open some doors.
Mal, this we've talked quite a bit about it over the last several weeks, ever since the First Division talk came out, and we've talked about it before. But well, just massive news that now this is out there on the table. This has been spoken by the league and voted by a supermajority of USL presidents and board members. Not to say everybody wanted this, but it was pretty darn close.
Yeah, and Tony, I think the word you're looking for is reverberification. Or
yeah, right. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, cool.
I'm looking for so many words, Mal.
No, it's okay. I need you guys to help me keep my English up. So this isn't helping when you throw made up words.
This is not helping. Sorry,
not helping here.
My bad.
No, cool. Yeah, we've talked about this, and the country has talked about this. And if there's any argument that the USL didn't have a place in the U.S. soccer landscape, that others outside of the USL tried to echo, that the USL X, Y, and Z, and you can make arguments left and right and center. This kind of, we haven't gotten there yet, but the ambition to get this done, it's something that no other soccer organization or no majority ownership groups and presidents and owners have been able to agree to come to the table and to have a majority vote to get to this point, even to begin the process now. So it takes the ambition and the appetite to get this done. And then you got to begin the process, because he has moment. People say, well, why have they announced it without the details? Well, because you create the details and then you put into a vote and you still can get rejected. You just need the overall concept of people saying, no, we want this. We're going to get this done. We're going to work together to kind of get there. And USL is going to have its place in the US soccer landscape bigger than it already has, but some try to kind of quiet down. And in a 5-year cycle here, we're going to be talking about how this is going to have the same impact, if not bigger, on when U.S. soccer, when professional leagues were first introduced 20 to 35 years ago. Now, the first time promotion relegation was introduced will be here within a couple of years, 2027, as you mentioned, 2028. I don't even care if it's 2030, Cole, to make sure that it's being done right. But the domino effect that it's going to have when it actually launches, the first tier, the delegation that we're going to have, I think it's going to be something that we're going to look back and be really happy that we got to be a part of it as an organization.
Yeah, there is so much right now. If you are just from the outside looking in, we're all sort of on the inside, but if you look from the outside, stepping away from the Sporting Jacks and USL ecosystem, and you're just in the soccer world, and you're looking, you go, wow, there is so much happening right now in a positive momentum for the USL and for Sporting Jacks. And if you step outside of the soccer ecosystem and just in the sports realm, you see it as well. And if you step out from there and you just look at the business aspect of it, you are seeing and are going to continue seeing so many steps forward and the acceleration of things. And things like the First Division and Pro Rel is just part of that larger story that's being told right now.
Yeah, and I think the biggest beneficiary here are the fans. And even though your team may go down, right? And as a supporter of a team that's always, not always, but lately been on the going down precipice.
Yeah.
That's a new one for you, Mal. On the cliff. The fans. No,
Just don't make them
I have
up.
a
I know the new
Brazilian
word, just don't
new
make them new words.
terms. No, so the fans, in my opinion, kept my team up.
Mhm.
Right? They never quit going. They never quit supporting. In the end, they stormed the field. And that is something that you can't get out of your sporting director, out of your, this is just something that is, it's ingrained. And if you think about just, Wrexham, if they have a quality manager, they quality investment, quality players, all that. But if you ask them, how do they keep going to Wembley, or actually they've been able to bypass the tournament, but how these teams go to Wembley and win and get a trophy like Mark did with Brentford, and so it's the support, and it's the fans, and it's the DNA of these clubs that really push them into these new eras, and that's what I love about it for the fans.
Yeah, it's going to be something that when you have more games of consequence, that keeps everybody more engaged, which I think creates a better experience. And let me just say something anecdotal here. As a lot of you know, I went to the University of Kansas, big Jayhawk fan.
Kansas.
And usually very engaged with what's happening with that basketball team. This year, miserable season, right, by Kansas standards. 7 seed, the lowest Bill Self has ever had as the head coach. They lose in the first round
to
Arkansas. Yep, it's not your Kansas, it's our Kansas.
Yeah.
To lose at Arkansas, and personally, as a fan, felt more disconnected from the team this year because it wasn't. Call me a fair weather fan if you like, but this was not what we're used to, right?
Yeah, you're conditioned. Yeah,
right. So now, instead of being devastated by an NCAA tournament loss, I'm like, all right, well, it was. You look to next year. When you have games, but if you have games that when you are more connected with the team, the emotions are more powerful. The enjoyment is stronger. The highs are higher and the lows are lower, and which is fine. You can have highs and lows. You don't appreciate the highs until you have the lows, and so Pro Rel offers that as part of everything that goes on. The other thing I would mention on Pro Rel now, and I want to get your thought on this. In England, Pro Rel, the difference between the Championship and the Premier League is so massive because of the money that comes from the national TV deal and the international TV deals. We don't have that same gap. So I don't think that in the United States it's going to be nearly as punishing for a team that gets relegated because you don't have that. Now, in the future, perhaps that national TV deal might be more substantial. But now, right now, you don't have that. So you're not going to be crippling owners if they do get relegated. Still, they'll want to stay up. There are so many benefits to staying up or going up.
Well, I actually see it as well, Cole. I mean, kind of just piggybacking on your argument that the gap isn't as big. If I'm an ambitious owner and I have some side money that I want to have some fun with, or I want to spend, I want to see it grow potentially, but I can't buy an EPL team, or I can't buy a La Liga team today based on this new set of information. I can go in and buy a USL League One team. And because the gap isn't as big as you mentioned, within a 5-year time, we're talking about what Wrexham is currently doing with millions and billions of dollars, right? Someone can come in here in the USL today, like FC Naples, for instance, and in a 3-year time, 4-year time, be talking about playing in the Division One, in USL Division One, because you can very quickly move up through the ranks, and with a little bit of investment, a little bit of structure, because the gap in competition isn't quite as big in the entire American landscape, really, not just within the USL, but even if you put MLS into that, this is going to help eventually. I think it's going to help open up the gap long term, because more teams are going to want to continue to invest and kind of get to the highest possible level based on credit and merit, not just based on pocket. So I think you're going to be like, you know what? I can put a little bit of money in it, do it the right way. And then based on doing it better than somebody else, which once again, it's the merit part of it, I can get all the way to the top. So I do think eventually that's going to open up. But right now, it's a real opportunity for some ambitious owners to come into this ecosystem.
Yeah, very interested to hear what some of the details will be of this system, and we'll learn about that over the course of the next several months. For sure, I'm sure there will need to be votes.
You
to
would
be
think
taken.
too that if with a supermajority, there was probably some conditions.
Yeah, or at least some guardrails of here's what we want it to look like, and which again, this all being part of this this growth approach with the USL with the first division, that those two topics are going to be moving forward hand in hand.
Yeah, I think we should speak kind of transparently about that too, because part of the reason that we've never had it with MLS in the 30 years of it is because it's just financially not really viable, right? So so with this, if somebody puts in a let's say a 15,000 capacity stadium, right, and slides the first year, you don't want to be playing in Madison,
right?
This is going to be a real hardship. So
Madison might be coming up. You never know.
They are. Well, you never. That's it. They may be coming up. You may be sliding down. But that's the beauty. That's the beauty of the World Game.
We will dig deeper into the U.S. Soccer Pro League standards and talk about how that works and how much that might change with this as well. That'll be something for a future day. We want to remind you that if you are not yet ready to pull the trigger on season tickets, you can still become a member of Sporting Jacks. It's absolutely free. Just go to sportingjacks.com. You get discounts on Sporting Jacks official club merchandise, invitations to exclusive insider events, automatic chances to win special prizes and experiences, and you receive the Sporting Jacks monthly email newsletter, sometimes more than monthly. Just go to sportingjacks.com to sign up for free. Last thing I want to say before we get out of here, congratulations to Sydney Schmidt, the former St. John's Country Day star, called up to the U17 U.S. Women's National Team for CONCACAF qualifying later this month. She'll be heading to Trinidad and Tobago to represent the United States there. We talked with Sydney a few months ago, I guess.
Good job, Sydney.
Yeah,
like a month ago. Maybe
several
90
months
days.
Ago. Whatever it was previously. Yeah. And she is certainly one who is on the radar for what's happening in terms of big stars of the future for the U.S. All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks, everybody. We did not get it in under half an hour. We apologize for going a little longer. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. We have so much more to talk about. By the way, let me also put a plug in on Monday. Usually the Sporting Jacks Soccer Hour is on Tuesday nights. It'll be Monday coming up this week because of the Gators baseball schedule, I believe, necessitated the move. Mark Warburton is going to join us in studio, so we'll have a lot of questions about that. If anybody wants to forward questions to me,
10:10 Monday, 6
p.m. Monday on 10:10 a.m. or 1010XL.com, and I'll have a lot of time to talk with Mark about a lot of things. I'm going to dig in a little bit so we get to know him personally, what he is as a person, his experience growing up, soccer philosophies for sure, and a lot of other things. But if you have questions, anybody, feel free to.
I want to do something. So like,
you can email me questions, by the way, at cole.pepper@sportingjacks.com.
His network is so phenomenal. Like, there's almost no one I can bring.
Most famous contact in his phone? Is that
no? What I was thinking. So like when Tarkovsky hit the equalizer, right? I'm like, please, because I knew he signed Tarkovsky at Brentford. I'm like, please text Tarkovsky that I love him, and he wrote back, done. I'm like, oh my God, I'm on top of the world. But but I was thinking something like we could get a list and say, is this person in your phone?
Yeah,
right. Because he's got Clough stories, he's got Moyes, just the whole gamut. Yeah. And so like maybe let's make a little list and say, is this person in your phone or not?
I love it. I'm going to assign that to you to start,
good,
and
cool.
then we'll punch it up.
Yeah, and if you're out there listening, if you have a name that you want to see if it's in Mark's phone, email, what are we calling it? The Sporting Pod at sportingjacks.com.
Yeah, the Sporting Pod at sportingjacks.com, or directly to me at cole.pepper@sportingjacks.com. All right, that'll do it for Tony Allegretti, for Mauricio Ruiz. I'm Cole Pepper. Thanks so much for listening to the Sporting Pod.